topics. So be sure you are able to fill in all of the questions, and you will win maybe one of these prizes. I am going to talk a little bit more about making your SharePoint intranet attractive again with Viva Connections, because I've noticed with a lot of customers that there is a SharePoint intranet, it's not being used, and that's actually not a good thing. And the best thing about Viva Connections is it's already included in most of the licensing, so you can start with it today. So who am I? The last 14 years, I've worked with SharePoint and Office 365. I started as a SharePoint developer in 2007, and I evaluated more to an architectural role that I'm doing at this moment. But next to SharePoint and Viva, I'm also a Power Platform consultant. So I'm working with the Power Platform as well. And as we all know, SharePoint, Power Platform, they are close together. I am an MCT, and recently I became an MVP as well. A little bit more about myself. I work as a modern workplace engineer for Worktel, a company in Belgium. And if I'm not working, I will be reading a book somewhere on a sunny terrace or in the sofa with a glass of wine or something like that, or being hiking in the mountains. Recently, I started a podcast as well called Fusion Talk, where we bring business and IT together to solve most of the common problems. And I also do a lot of charity work. If you have any questions to me after this presentation or in the future, reach out to me on social media. I will happy to help, or read through my blog or anything else. So let's get started. A little bit more about the history of an intranet. In the mid-90s, an intranet was more a static website. That means that the business was not able to deal with the website itself because it was too complex. So IT was managing it, where IT didn't find the time, and IT and business were not able to communicate very well. So the purpose of the site was gone. They didn't knew why they had it. So then in the mid 2000s, a lot of things changed with the evaluation of Facebook and LinkedIn. So the social media was there, and business saw that there was an impact on how people work and how people were interacting together. So they start implementing social medias inside of an intranet. Think about Viva Engage at the moment. It's a social media, but then for your company, and people working different with them. But still, these days, we have a lot of struggles. We have the struggle about the time zones where people working in, or the way of communication. There are way too many forms of communication. So how can we fix that? That's what we try to achieve today. So it's not a surprise that almost 90% of the intranets are failing. I have created myself many intranets for customers of mine, and I do know some of them were failed because they are not getting used. And that's actually not a good thing. But why do they fail? There are 5 reasons, or top 5 for me. I will explain them in detail in every other slides, but these 5 are the main reasons. One is an unclear governance. Questions like, who is able to change anything? Which workflows are there in place? Which processes we need to follow, and we need to have this data updated? Is there an automatically data update process in place? Those questions are not clear for everyone, and that's what we need to describe in a governance. So with making a clear governance and making a framework for this, you will probably solve a lot of failures for your intranet. What I always suggest to my customers is create a SharePoint site and put in all in the information you decide for your governance in there, and include this governance site into your intranet. Then every employee, new employees, older employees in your organizations can go there and can see what decisions are made, and they can follow the procedures that they are. So it's going to be even better. Another reason why an intranet fails is the purpose is unclear. So they don't know why they need to go to the intranet. They don't know where to find the information they need to have, or how the intranet is built, or what the goal is for the intranet. So we need to make sure that we do some user research on it. With getting your employees involved in the research, you know what they want from an intranet and you can participate on that. And then your intranet is going to get attractive already for your users. Executive and unengaged, so the management is not involved in it. So they don't give you resources or time or anything else to create a good intranet for their employees. And it's maybe something strange, but if they don't do that, your internet won't succeed. So your management needs to be involved in it. Another reason of failure is the user interface, the UX. It's not always clear when a user is on the internet how he needs to find something, or where to find it, or where to click, or where is my navigation. And it's something we need to think of. And we can do that by getting the users involved again and making some mock-ups and showing them and talk to them how they want to change things. And if we get the user interface and the UX better, the internet will get visited a lot more. Another one, and that's maybe one of the biggest challenges we have, is outdated content. Now, with Copilot, it's even more important that we check our data regularly and that we have the right data in our intranet. We don't want a new employee coming in our organization that is searching for a procedure to ask holiday of time off and finds a procedure of 3 years ago. Because if I find a procedure of 3 years ago, I'm not sure it's still correct. So we need to update it regularly. Think about workflows that sends out an email every 6 months. Look, you need to review this document. Is it still clear? That's something we can do on the internet. We can get into the multiple Microsoft 365 tools that help us with this. And then we have the data right. So outdated content could be something we can fix easily. That's what we need to do as well. Improving intranet and employee experience is a top priority of organizations because of the 5 reasons we just developed. So why it still needs to be changed? It will get productivity and efficiency up. So if you change your intranet and change the way it works, and it works in a good way, and you get your user involved, productivity will grow. So if you go to your manager and say, hey, I can do something about the internet and the productivity of our employees will grow, your managers will listen to it because it's a very big thing. The productivity where we are, the better it is for our organization. Data security and compliance is another reason why we need to check it. If we talk about security and compliance, it's always a complex material. And giving the management a feeling that we want to do something about it, they will give you more resources to get things to invest and to work with it. Knowledge management and retention is also something we need to get in place when we need to update the intranet. Because the easier we go to the intranet and the more knowledge we can gain, the better it is for our organization. And at least it increased the employee engagement because users will go to the intranet way faster than they do at a normal time. An intranet should be the start of the day for many of the users, and we see it's not at the moment. SharePoint as an intranet, it's a very good idea because SharePoint interacts with a lot of Office 365 tools, and you do have it in your license. So why don't build our intranet in there? We don't need to have extra tools. We can integrate it into Teams and other Office 365. We can easily communicate about it. So it's a very good thing. Why it's another good reason to use SharePoint as an intranet? It's flexible and customizable. Think about installing third-party tools, third-party web parts like PMP search. It will increase the flexibility of the users and it will increase the interactiveness for our users. Also, when we talk about SharePoint, we can get our users' involvement and an adoption process in place. We can create a SharePoint early adopters process or something like that, where we have people that are convinced about the intranet and tell about it. Because we are working with SharePoint, we can keep our content lifecycle up to date with the interaction of the Power Automate or something else. So with combining all of those things together, its technical performance and scalability of the SharePoint intranet will be much bigger than other intranet tools you can have because it works with all Office 365 tools. So Microsoft Viva, we already know what it is. We already know what we want to achieve with it. So it's a driven mission and alignment for goals and OKR. Measurement, engagement, and productivity is one of the main goals of Viva as well. And enable high performance workforce is another goal that Microsoft Viva has for us as a company. And that's what we want to achieve as well. Viva Connections, why? It's one place where you can find all of your information. So it's one place where we can have Viva news coming from Viva Engage or updates from Viva Engage, news from different sites, and documents. It's all just one tool we need to use. Who is not up for that? Every user, I think, if they need to search for multiple tools or they can go just one place to find everything they need, they will go to that one place. But it's a personalized experience. You can create some announcements or some adaptive cards on your dashboard based on security groups. So you can have somebody from marketing seeing something completely different than some people from search. And that will increase and that will make it easier for your users to go there because they know if they open Viva Connections that they see the information that they need and don't see information from people from other departments of the organization that are not interesting for them. They can see news from them, but most of the time it's being more personalized. It's also branding the experience. You can get logos and you can get colors and all of that from your organization in there. It's not the big brand at the moment, but there are coming changes to it. So it's personalizing to your organization and branding the styles they have. Tailor the experience so you can see you have a better experience, you have a better place where they can go to. Custom components, there are many third-party tools you can install in adaptive cards, or you can even develop your own adaptive cards if you want to. So by customizing this, you have a better experience for your users as well. Integrate your investments. If you are working with third-party tools like a Jira or a Salesforce, most of the time they have adaptive cards or they have integrations for SharePoint or Viva, and that you can use in your Viva connections as well. So you don't need to go to all of the different tools if you don't want to. Leverage your investment is a little bit of the same. It's one place for all, one place where you have different kind of tools coming together, so it's better for your users. So the desktop experience, it's actually a gateway to employee experience. The desktop experience, it depends on where you are checking it from. You can do it from Teams, you can do it from your phone, you can do it from SharePoint directly. You have a dashboard, you have your researches and all of that, and it's being visible for everyone. Is Viva Connection a replacement of your intranet? No, it's a layer on top of it. So you still need to have an intranet build, you still need to think about your intranet, and you still need to be aware of how your intranet is going to look and how your intranet is going to integrate and what's on your intranet. So a little bit more in detail. The key experience, one of the key experience in Viva Connections is resources. As you can see, in here we have a view of resources on the mobile phone. It's the global navigation, but you can also add resources, as you can see in the Teams app, that are custom links. And those custom links you can show on your mobile phone as well. You can go up to 48 links to be visible in the resource sections. But also the global navigation is very nice because you just need to build it once and you can go directly to all of the different kind of sites. In my demo later, I will show you how you can do it from inside Teams. The feed is another key experience, and it's bringing all of the different kind of news together. It's news from SharePoint sites, but it's also from Engage. And it's just one place you need to check to have it all in one view. So it's very nice for your users. They don't need to change. And of course, the dashboard is something we can build ourselves, and then we can have or the task for the users or shifts or approvals. There are a few adaptive cards we can place on there, and we can do it with audience tagging. I will get in that also in detail in my demo. So how to start with Viva Connections? As I already told you, it's most of the time included in your existing licensing. So E and F license always have Viva Connections in there. The default Microsoft 365 license for home and all of that doesn't have it. But companies most of the time have it, so you can start with it today. What you need to do is an admin needs to configure it under admin.microsoft.com. In the settings, you can select Viva, and there you can select Viva Connections. What an admin can do is create a home site from there, or you can create a home site in SharePoint admin. And if you go to the Viva Connections settings in the admin center, you can say, use this existing site as a home site. That are the two options. After we have configured the home site, we need to build the home site and we need to build the dashboard. So after we build the dashboard, we install it, the connection to Teams, and then it's available for everyone in your organization. If I now go to my portal.microsoft365 under admin, here I am logged in as an administrator. So show all settings, and here we have Viva. If I'm clicking on the Viva, I see here Viva Connections. And then create manage Viva Connection experience. And this is where I can see which one is my home site, and it's enabled for everyone. I can create a new one. or I can build from an existing. If I create a new one, I can say, days. It will create the URL directly. It's the same principle like if you go to SharePoint Admin Center and create a new site, I can say the language and the time zone. And then I can create my experience. Now it's going to be creating the site and everything set up in place. And in here, I can say also later on, all right, close. I'm clicking this one, audience, edit audience. I can say everyone in the organizations are scooped down. So I can say filter by group, newest sales. So this is only now for sales available. So for every group or department in my organization up to 10, I can create different home sites that they see different kind of things. Do sales save, then it's going to be changed. So you see everyone a specified group. If I go to this site as an administrator, and I am admin on this site as well, I have in the gear icon, manage Viva Connections. In the manage Viva Connections, I have a few things that I can do. I can view analytics. It's going to show me a report. As you can see, there is no data here yet, so it's going to run at the background. I can manage announcements. So with the announcements, I can say I already have two in this one for US sales members, one for controls and marketing. But if I'm now adding an announcements, I can create a title, demo, audience targetings to all company members, so everyone in my organization, and I can schedule it. So I can make an announcement for a small period of time. And be aware, if you want to use this, it's a premium feature. You need to have some extra licensing. But when do you want to use it? If you having downtime with your file server, or if you're having downtime with your phone systems, or anything that you want to announce to the entire organization. And you can schedule it so that the day before it's going to be downtime or maintenance, you can put it online and you can say when you want to have it offline again. I can also add some links, and I can also allow the users to dismiss so that when they read it, they don't see it in their announcements anymore. I'm now just going to say send announcement, and now the user will see it on their screen if they log into the Viva Connections in Teams or go to the home site. And I will show you later how this is looking like. If I go back to my home site, my manage Viva Connections, I still had one option in here, and that's my dashboard. If I go to my dashboard, I can see all of the adaptive cards that are included in here. If I do edit, I can have a look how it will look like on a mobile or on a desktop. And I also can edit my cards. Depending on which cards there are, I can create some icons, and I have also the JSON that I can change, and I have also some audience targeting that I can put in there. And I can, of course, add some new cards that are default in there or that have been installed into the App Store and some suggestions. And if I now should republish, then everyone that is seeing this is having an updated adaptive card. How does it look for a user? I have two users accounts, and I'm going to place them next to each other just to show you some differences. Not that one. This one. So in here, I am Lee Gu, and Lee is working for marketing. And in here, I have Alex, and Alex is also working for marketing and for sales. I'm just going to switch again because Viva Connections. As you already can see, Lee has welcome to the marketing team announcement. He only has one, while Alex is having two, so there is another announcement for Alex. If they click on it, they see a pop-up with what was the announcement. And also in the dashboard, we have a little bit difference. If I do show more. In this dashboard, I have made this one and the December 14 payment only for US sales available. So Lee isn't seeing it because he is not in that security group. So based on the security group, you see different kind of things, which is a very good thing because you can personalize it for the users you want to work with, and you want to show them what they really need to see and don't want to overload them with a lot of information. If I'm now just taking one, what is else in here? The feed. We have talked about it. So you see news, all of the news messages that there are. I can go to my activities. Then I see some more information about Lee. If I go back to feed, I can see something special for me. So this is posted on SharePoint. So you see more messages, but also documents that were sent to you. So this is an overview of every activity that is being there for you, news, documents, engage, everything. Stay on top is what they see as important, shared by Outlook, sent to you in Teams. So it's going to pull in all of the information together. And I also have my network. So people you are working with or are related to you. If I'm now going back to Alex, you will see stay on top. This is already different than what we had earlier. So even there, it will change based on the user you are. If I go to my network, I see storyline. That's people posting in my network something to their storyline that I can see. And I also have meeting insights if I had some meetings ready. After the dashboard, we find the resources. I didn't configure it for this users, but we can add links to it and all of that. If I now click again on Viva Connections, I will have my will have my global navigation. And if I click on it, then it will load the site into Teams. You don't go to SharePoint or anything else. It's just being in here. If I click on Viva Connections again, I can switch easily between all of the different kind of sites. And also in here, I am on the home site, and here I see the dashboard again. So it's easier for your users to work with. They can choose the tool they want to work with and the one that's are important for them. Instead of always need to switch between different kind of tools. So the use cases, we have talked about it as an admin, what you need to do, you need to set it up. you need to configure it, or you need to give someone permissions to configure the dashboard. That's also possible, that you, as an administrator, set it up, give people permissions on the sites in SharePoint admin that they can configure it all themselves. And we already compared the two kind of differences inside marketing and sales of persons, what they can see and what they can't see. So the conclusion for me is Viva Connections is a very good top on of your intranet. You can give users the permissions to work in one tool, to include everything what they need, and they don't need to switch different kind of tools. So it's giving them more trust. So for me, start with it today, get it in your organization, get a small public to work with it, to see how it goes and get feedback of them. And then you can roll it out for every single user in your organization if needed. So, are there any questions in the chat? As I can see, no. All right. So if there are no questions, I would like to thank you all for being here and thank also the sponsors for giving us the time to talk about Viva Connections and this and to share their interest in all of it. And if you have questions later, I will stay on the chat and I will answer them if needed.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Anik. It was really great presentation. Thank you so much for joining today. Next, we have Sarah. Sarah, are you on call?
I am.
Lovely.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Sarah. And how are you?
I'm good. I really enjoyed your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck with yours.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll just stop the recording and restart it, just so we have another chunk.
Yeah.